Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Kim. Today I'm going to be trying the Triad Chapter Tag Astronomy Edition. So earlier this week, G from Book Roast uploaded her announcement for the O.W.L.S 2020 readathon. This is a Harry Potter based readathon where people follow prompts in order to receive their OWL qualifications. And this is the third year that G has run it, and I've never joined in before, but I feel like it looks super fun, like it's just a nice thing to do, a nice community thing to join in with. I do like Harry Potter and I am Hufflepuff, so I will be playing for that team's points. There's also another readathon going on in the month of April, and that's called the TBRClearOut readathon, which is going to be run for the first time by Katie at Books and Things. It's a real casual readathon. I'll link the announcement video down below, but basically the idea is that kind of going through all your backlist books that you've not necessarily been super excited about, and just kind of just to kind of have a bit of a clear out. I thought I would kind of also semi-involve myself in that by trying to fit in books that have been on my TBR for the longest onto the Magical Readathon TBR as well. So we'll see how that goes. I'm still thinking about the different books that I can have. But in that same vein, it's not that I'm not excited about getting to these books, it's just that I've had some of them for years on my TBR, so it's about time that I prioritise them. So I thought mixing the two readathons together would be quite nice. I decided that I'm going to be following the path to become an astronomer, which I think is kind of accurate in a way, because I'd quite like to be an astronomer. That is actually the one with the shortest amount of prompts that I could see, I think, so I've kind of also tactfully played for that too, because I'm not the fastest reader. The prompts for the astronomy career I will talk about when I do my April TBR, but I kind of got a few ideas of what I want to put on that for the 3 books, but I couldn't really think of how to add in a book on astronomy, which I feel like would be nice to do. I have a big backlist of books that I picked up from my mum's at Christmas of popular science books from the past that I have and I haven't read yet. So today I'm going to be trying the first kind of intro prologue, because they're all non-fiction books, so they don't really have, like, the first chapters are kind of after all the intro and the prologue. So I'm going to read the intro and the prologue for the 4 books and see what excites me the most, and then that is going to go onto my April TBR as my astronomy pick. So the prologues and intros that I'm going to be reading today are the ones from Cosmos by Carl Sagan, Empire of the Stars by Arthur I. Miller, Aliens, which is a collection from different people, of chapters by different people, but it's edited by Jim Al-Khalili, and 13.8, The Quest to Find the True Age of the Universe and the Theory of Everything by John Gribbin. So this one's in my hand, so I may as well start with this one. So I will report back shortly. Hey guys, so I've just finished reading the prologue for this book, 13.8 by John Gribbin. Yeah, so actually I'm really liking it, it's really good. So the whole book is going to be talking about how scientists know that the age of the universe is 13.8 billion years, and why they favour the Big Bang model. The first part of the book is like just a little intro from the author, and where he talks about kind of what they're going to talk about in the book, and he explains that he was part of one of the teams that measured the age of the universe, so he has real insight. He knows a lot of the scientists who actually work within the field, so that's a good start in my opinion. And he kind of talks about how in the 1940s people were calculating that the age of the stars in the universe were actually older than their calculations of the universe, so obviously that's like a massive contradiction and tells them that there's something wrong. So this explains how that reversed, and now when scientists use their current models and theories, they actually calculate the stars to be just younger than the age of the universe. And then the introduction was basically talking about how the temperature of the background radiation that we have is basically high evidence for a Big Bang, because the radiation that was emitted during the Big Bang has now cooled right down to 2.712 Kelvin. I wrote it down, I'm not going to remember it off the top of my head. So that translates to minus 270.288 degrees Celsius. So very cold. It's cooled down a lot. Yeah, so he just kind of explains the measurement of that and the first measurement of that, which is a story that I've heard quite a few times about some scientists that worked at Bell Laboratories in the United States. They measured it and didn't know what they were measuring, and thought that the kind of interference that they were detecting may have come from like nesting pigeons in the actual antenna that they used and stuff like that. And I've heard this story told quite a few times, but this book actually didn't even dwell on the pigeons, like, because it's kind of a funny part to the story, but this didn't even really dwell on it, and it really went into detail about all the different people who were studying the temperature of the universe and kind of calculating the temperature of the universe. And he talks about how the discovery was actually missed for so many years. Yeah, and kind of like during that time there was lots of arguments over whether or not the universe was infinite in space and in a steady state, never changing, or if there was a Big Bang, or if there was like a rebound Big Bang, so constantly expanding and crunching back down and expanding, crunching back down, and things like that. So yeah, it sounds like it's going to be an interesting read. I really love reading about the actual scientists themselves as well as the science. I feel like it puts a lot of things in perspective and humanizes it in a way that makes you believe that you could also kind of contribute to this kind of world. So I really enjoy it, basically. So this is looking promising. It was quite a long read, actually. It was like 19 pages of prologue and an intro. So I read actually quite a lot. So that's kind of making me feel like I should put this on April, because I already have read quite a lot. And I'll be honest, I already know most of the stuff, but I still enjoy reading about it. Like when it comes to the history, I don't know much about it, and the actual scientists and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to, I think, go down another path and pick up aliens and see what scientists know about aliens at the moment. So I just finished reading the intro to Aliens, and this also sounds really cool. I feel like I'm going to have a massive problem in choosing. So this book just tries to like kind of put in context like where we are at the moment in the scientific community, trying to actually discover if we are the only people in the universe or not. And there seems to be kind of like arguments on both sides. So Jim Al-Khalili has collected together kind of scientists at the top of their fields right now to write about their different specific areas to do with the search for alien life. There's going to be this James Webb Space Telescope going up. I think this book was written in 2016. Yeah, 2016. Oh, I just realised that it's signed, but not by Jim Al-Khalili, so that's interesting. Anyway, yeah, so the James Webb Space Telescope is going to kind of be able to help us try and detect anything that would kind of give a signature to there being life out there on other planets or other moons surrounding other suns, stars. At the time of writing of this book, that was supposed to be launched in 2018. I personally have been waiting for this telescope to be launched for ages. And I've just googled it, and they're saying now that the launch date is the 30th of March 2021, so we still have to wait for another year, which is frustrating, but you don't want to just send this really expensive telescope up and then, like, you know, have something happen to it. So it's worth the wait, I hope, The intro was just kind of going through all the different chapters about what you kind of can expect. So there's going to be talk of like the chemistry of like the origins of life, how we understand it now, and kind of like the link between chemistry and biology, like when do you get life from chemistry, I guess, which is a subject that really interests me, always has. I just find it completely baffling. The question of why have we not actually found or detected any life ourselves? Why has there been no intelligent life that has detected any signals from us that we put out? He talks to someone who thinks like, well, it's completely improbable for life to kind of happen, and that we are just kind of in a very unique situation. And there's arguments to be like, well, if we're in this crazily big universe, surely there are other life, and the questions of that. There's also some chapters where he talks to someone that he said loves science fiction, and the guy has so many books. Yeah, what's his name? Ian Stewart is a mathematician, and he says that he's known him for many years, he loves science fiction, and he has a collection of over 8,000 science fiction books, which I think is crazy. That's a crazy amount of books, right? Anyway, so he talks about kind of all science fiction through the ages, which I think will be a really interesting chapter. And then there's a chapter on, there's going to be a chapter on the different kind of science fiction films, I think it said at the end. So yeah, it just seems like a completely well-rounded book. He says at the end of the intro, it's been kind of like a joke subject for so long. People either take it really seriously and think that we've already had contact already, or don't take it seriously at all. But now it's like a real scientific field in many different fields, searching for alien life. So it sounds really interesting. Yeah, so I think this might be winning right now, actually. I guess now I'm going to read a chapter from Empire of the Stars. So we'll see how I get on with this one. No doubt I'll probably love it too. This is going to be a really hard decision. So I just finished this. This is just ridiculous because I want to read every single one immediately, which is a problem because I'm already reading books. Okay, so this is the story of a scientist called Chandra. I'm going to write his full name here. I've been trying to pronounce it correctly, but I'm failing miserably. So this is his name. But this was when he was a young man, he was offered a place at Trinity College in Cambridge, and he sailed from India. He's from Madras in India, as it was called then. And when he was 19, he sailed over to the UK and went to Cambridge College. So when he was on the boat trip, he basically made some calculations and calculated that there was an upper limit to how massive a star can be before there's too much mass and you just keep on collapsing through the gravitational force like forever and ever and ever. But when he got to the UK and he announced his calculations and what he found and what he discovered, Sir Arthur Eddington, who was a massive astronomer at the time, very well respected, basically dragged him through the mud and said that it was nonsense and that he didn't believe it. So this went on for like 40 years, nearly 40 years, he said, and basically had no recognition for his idea, and it was just laughed at. It was only when during the war, when people wanted to make a hydrogen bomb, did they decide that actually, yes, the knowledge of like black holes' existence was then going to aid in the development of the hydrogen and the design of the hydrogen bomb. And then it kind of came about, and he was given the Nobel Prize eventually, but I mean, it was just like so many years of his career had gone by where he'd been kind of mocked by Eddington. And I feel like I didn't really know that. So I think it's going to be a really fascinating read. The writing style is a bit more kind of whimsical's not the right word, but a bit more casual than the other two were, I think. So that's a slight difference. It started a bit of, oh, imagine you're an astronaut and you're coming up to a black hole and you're being sucked in and all this stuff. But then the writing kind of got a little bit more normal and not so dreamy. I think that was just trying to set the scene of a black hole, which always does my head in when I try and think about it as well. But yeah, so another really interesting book. This is not going well. Well, this is going really well, but maybe too well. So, okay, the last book that I'm going to read the intro for is Cosmos by Carl Sagan. We'll see how I go. I just finished reading the intro to Cosmos. This was kind of a weird intro because it didn't really talk about, well, I mean, it did say that it was going to speak about the cosmos, just in general. But Carl Sagan, he wrote this book at the same time that he wrote and filmed his series Cosmos. I think this book came out in 1980, so it was around that time. So this is like kind of considered a classic. Where's it? Yeah, first published in 1981. So this, I'm skeptical as to like whether I should read this because it's like fairly old now, but it's not like massively old in the grand scheme of things. I feel like if I did pick this up, then I would probably read about a section and then have to do some research just to kind of see how it's, see what's going on in that particular area of the field like now. I don't think I'm going to pick this up for the Magical Readathon. I think what I'm going to do from these four is, I think I might go with aliens. And my reasoning for that is because it's a bit of a mismatch of like different kind of fields, which is interesting. It's short and I have a lot of books to read on my TBR anyway, if I do the Magical Readathon and follow my usual categories of what I want to read. And also because it kind of goes into a bit of chemistry and a bit of biology, it feels more potion-y, like magical. Yeah, so I just think it sounds a bit more like, okay, which bits do we need to make life? It sounds more magical to me, which is not a scientific thing to say, but that is how it feels in my brain. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna go with this one to read as part of my quest to become an astronomer. Kind of get an all-rounded view from many different areas to do with finding and seeking aliens and looking for life on other planets. Yeah, so okay, this is going on to the TBR. If anyone wants to buddy read this with me, I've never done a buddy read before and I feel nervous to do one because I've not done one before and new things are scary. But yeah, if anyone wants to kind of read along with me with this, that'd be really great because I bet there's lots to talk about in this and I would really love that. Yeah, so let me know if anyone does. Well, thank you very much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Take care, bye.